Welcome back. It's still Monday, December 21st, 2015, and this is still the morning edition on I-24 News. Thank you for staying with us. So with more than 1 million Russian immigrants making Israel their home, it is of no surprise that the words Novi God are becoming very common, referring to Russian-style New Year's celebrations. The non-religious Novi God celebration seen here in a commercial for an Israeli telecom was instituted by the Soviet regime in the 1930s to compensate for the forbidden Christian Christmas. But 80 years later, young Israelis who were mostly kids when their parents emigrated from Russia are reviving this tradition in full force with yoga trees, Granddad Frost bearing gifts, and yes, something called fish and fur. So we'll talk about that, all these little details. However, not all is joyous in the Israeli Novi God as it encounters increasingly growing objection from religious Jews and moving MK Ksenia Svetlova to file a new bill declaring Novi God an official Israeli holiday. So to dig deeper into these festivities, we're joined in studio by writer and activist Alex Reif, co-founder of Israeli Novi God. Thank you for joining us so much this morning. And by journalist Diana Pevsner-Bashan. Thank you for being with us. But first, we were joined on the phone by Israeli parliament member that we mentioned, Ksenia Svetlova. Ksenia, thank you so much for being with us this morning. So tell us about this initiative. You want this to become a secular holiday here in Israel. What kind of opposition have you received in the parliament?
Well, first of all, I have to mention that there is already a legislation that statutes that the Novi God celebrations can be a day for somebody who is employed in any office to choose it as a free day. Okay, so it was passed by the Belkin back by 2010. The problem is that this law is at many places it's not functioning. People are not aware of its existence. And also there is a lot of confusion. What is Novi God and why do people celebrate? So basically this year, as long as we started already having this confrontation from part of the Israeli public that accuses annually, I have to tell you that, I'm living in Israel for 24 years, every single year during December, closer to the New Eve celebrations, we are hearing these accusations that we are not Jews, we do not belong here, we bring here Christian traditions and whatever. And I suggested that the Knesset will discuss these shows of disrespect toward the immigrants from former Soviet Union, Israelis from Russian origin, and to discuss the causes to this displays of xenophobia and I would even say racism. So after some battle in the Knesset, this suggestion was accepted and it became in the schedule of the plenary session last week. I raised the issue and I was actually responded by no other but than the Naftali Bennett, the Minister of Education, who surprisingly took it very well, and he told me that he knew from his soldiers back, when he was in the army, that the Novi God was a totally secular holiday. It's a civil holiday, and he actually congratulated everybody who celebrates this wonderful holiday. And he said that now it's going to the Commission for Education, because I think the roots are there, basically. The roots are there. There is not enough awareness of cultures from different diasporas. So as for us, we came from a secular, if not to say atheistic country. There is no reason to suspect that we are, Christians in disguise, and all of these things that are being expressed every single year. So I suggested to Bennett that he would include more materials about the Soviet Jewry, about our traditions and lifestyle, and also the contribution in the life here in Israel in the school curricula. And we are scheduled to meet with him very soon, maybe within a week or two, to discuss this very matter.
Well, it will be interesting to follow up how that works out. Ksenia, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
So, Alex, we'll begin with you. Just reading about it last night, I've heard about it living here in Israel, but it looks like Christmas, doesn't it? It sounds like Christmas, it feels like Christmas, but it's not Christmas, and that's what turns perhaps religious Jews off. So just explain a bit about how it came to be a non-religious holiday and why people here should perhaps lighten up a bit.
Okay, so as everyone knows, in the Soviet Union, the religious was out of, it was banned. And a lot of people still wanted to celebrate this holiday called Novi God, and it was a secular holiday. It wasn't anything religious. So about 10 years later, it came back to being legal to celebrate Novi God as a secular, as a family holiday. It was the only one non-political holiday that was being celebrated in the Soviet Union. So after they came here, the immigrants from the former Soviet Union, they kept celebrating it, and it was the holiday that stayed in their hearts the most. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they were ashamed of it because the environment called it Sylvester and Christmas and everything they didn't actually know or feel that has to do with it. So we're trying to take it back to its origins and explain the Hebrew speakers what this holiday is all about. We have a website that explains in Hebrew about this Novi God, about the food and about the tradition and about the history, and that it has nothing to do with Sylvester. And it's the first time that actually people are coming, even though the Russian Aliyah is trying to explain it for years, but it's the first time that we're making this big move together and people are understanding. They're saying, okay, so it doesn't have to do with Sylvester. That's new. That's okay, so maybe it's not... Maybe you're Jews after all.
Yes. But Yana, I want to hear your take on celebrating this holiday in Israel.
I don't have any other opinion about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I for myself never celebrated it. When we came to Israel, it was for us, for my parents and for myself, it was this place is not. It's not good for for celebration of this holiday because. You don't have the snow, you don't have the friends. It's a family, and the table is full of friends, and we don't have any anymore, and we don't have the tree. You have nothing, but it's the only thing I really missed. One of the few things I really missed from my childhood. So. This year I'm going to celebrate.
Oh, you're going to celebrate?
Yes, eventually. Yes.
So it sounds like your family, once they moved here, they really felt that it was something to be ashamed of.
No,
so that's why
it was not something to be ashamed of. It was just very sad. It was with whom are we going to celebrate? Mm-hmm. We are only 5 people and we have nothing, and we are like the tragedy of immigration, and. Of the first years and so on. So, but now even my parents want to do it. So,
yes.
Yes.
So they want to return to that tradition. So it sounds like you mentioned it's a family holiday, but this initiative that you're working on and other initiatives want to make it more of a general feeling. They're inviting Israelis who are not Russian into their homes and trying to expose people to this.
We call it Israeli Novi God, and a lot of people ask us what's Israeli in it. So we're trying through this holiday to open a door, a window to the Aliyah from the former Soviet Union. Mm-hmm. We feel that its history and its memories is absent from the public discourse. We don't see it, we don't talk about it, we don't learn it in schools. So we're trying to open this door so people can sit together around the table and just listen to our parents, our grandparents. What was it like to grow up in Russia, in Soviet Union? Was there any Judaism in their lives? How the Judaism was absent or alive in their lives? And this is something that even us, the children, usually don't ask. So we're trying to open this door for everyone and begin with this Novi God.
Well, it sounds like a great initiative. And there's one last thing that I want to know. Yana, I'll pose this question to you. What is fish and fur? I'm trying to understand what this dish is. What are some of these common things that we've never heard of and Russians really love on this holiday?
A lot of mayo.
A lot of mayonnaise. So it's not a healthy holiday.
It's not a healthy. Russian food is not so healthy, I think. But, of course, you can choose the portion of mayonnaise you use. But it's how do you say, the matias, fish, and potatoes, and, of course, onions, and you have different recipes for it, and it's a wonderful dish. it looks strange.
It sounds strange in English. Maybe it's just the English translation of it. I don't know.
It is strange.
Fish and fur. It is. It's
In
like
Hebrew, exactly the same.
but in Russian, it sounds more.
Yeah, but it's really good when you make it well.
Yes.
And this video is made by my partner to this project,
Uh-huh,
Barry,
uh-huh.
and he makes great food. So
Good to know. Well, we wish you the best of luck with the initiative and enjoy celebrating this year for you, the first time in a long time. So thank you so much,
Thank you.
Yana and Alex, for being here this morning.
you.